back to Night Owl Mogwai Talk, keeping you up on the latest Mogwai news. Or at least stuff I want to talk about. And this time I want to talk about episode 2 of Secrets of the Mogwai. If you haven't seen my video for episode 1, I'm sure there's I'll try to put one of those eye things here. Where do they go here? Is that where that goes? Is that where that? Sure, that's where that goes. We'll put one of those there. Maybe. I don't know. This is all irrelevant. If you haven't seen the first video, watch that one. Otherwise, let's watch episode 2 together, shall we? Without further ado, episode 2. Okay, so when last we left Gremlins, Secrets of the Mogwai, the family unit was together. They were in possession of a Mogwai, although we're not even 10 minutes into it. They'd already screwed that up and gotten it wet, so there's 4 more plus the original. So the family itself is in possession of a bunch of Mogwai. Some bad guys know the Mogwais are out there, and they kind of have a lead on where they are. So when they take the Mogwai in back to kind of get them boxed up for the night, our bad guys come bursting in through the front door. We've got our evil emperor, Riley Green, which is a weird name for a villain. But Riley Green, he's got evil magic. He's got green magic, I tell you. And then he's got his usual group of thugs and henchmen. And then he's got this little girl with him, Elle. Elle is a street urchin. She owns she has some sort of debt to him. They don't really say what that debt is, but she's kind of got this Han Solo thing to her where you can tell she's conflicted. She's like 70% good, 30% bad, but if she could get that debt paid off, it could get to maybe be like 90-10, you know? She's trying to get to be back to good. So when the bad guys burst in, only person in the shop is Grandpa. Everybody else is in back. So Grandpa realizes he's in trouble and he's being overpowered by this gang of thugs, and he looks like Charles Bronson in Death Wish. He's gonna straight up reach underneath the counter and pull out, BAM! That's right, the drum from Karate Kid 2. I know, I couldn't believe it either. As soon as I saw it, I was like, this show's kind of winning me over. So immediately Grandpa starts to spin it and make it turn into a magical device. You see kind of this magic coming off of it. So Riley Green, the villain, then puts his two pinkies crisscrossed and plays an invisible video game controller like freaking Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. Which, quick reminder, Grandpa is played by James Hong, who is Lo Pan from Big Trouble in Little China. And the two of them have their magic duel within the family's urgent care facility or whatever it is they're running there. And at that point, Grandpa gets turned into an energy ball, and Riley Green swallows him. And I loved it. Because Darth Vader hits Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he turns into a pile of clothes. At no point does Darth Vader just go over and swallow the Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the reason I mentioned that character specifically is because that's what we've got here. The Grandpa is working as Sam's mentor. So once Sam sees that, Grandpa has been murdered by the evil villain, then we've got a villain established. You get your mentor killed by your rival kind of thing. So this is good storytelling, and it's also good scary kid stuff. For kid horror, I don't think you need gruesome cuts and blood and grossness or whatever that makes people want to throw up. You need ideas that are scary. I swallowed your grandpa's existence. Jesus, what's wrong with you people? So yeah, this is some real good classic, kind of scary, otherworldly concepts that I like. It made me sit up in my seat. This show's getting better. So at this point, the father is watching all this, and the family sees a bunch of it, and the father decides, okay, this is bad. You guys need to go away, or need to run. So he blocks the door while the mom and the son gather up the gremlins and go running. They got Gizmo in the adventure backpack thing, and they put the 4 other gremlins in kind of this big footlocker deal. And trying to carry that through the city streets is real hard, and they eventually settle behind a building in an alleyway. In the alleyway, they do kind of a hide the baby thing here. And the mom says, all right, I'm going to run out there and try to lead the bad guys in a different direction. So now at this point, Sam comes to the realization his grandpa's been devoured. His dad has had who knows what happened to him when he was trying to hold the door. And now the mom is abandoning him to run off and try to lead them astray. So he's alone in the world at this point. And the Mogwai senses his sadness, and the two of them cuddle up together. So Gizmo and him are hiding in an alley underneath some boards, and they take a nap. And that's when the bad gremlins decide to strike. They break out of their little containment footlocker box thing, and they go out causing menace in the streets. First thing they do is hit a 24-hour dumpling shop, as you have in 1920. But they go in there and they cause all this havoc. It's reminiscent of the bar scene or maybe the theater or whatever. But they usually just, typical gremlin havoc. However, I would like to point out, a bunch of bright lights in this scene. And this also establishes that the gremlins are bad before they turn green. Like, I was under the impression that they were just kind of like children, like they're little sweet, cuddly, small things, and then eventually they kind of grow into teenagers where they're pissed off and angry and they're covered in weird sores and stuff. So, these gross effers with their snot and everything, that's the villainous form. But it's like, no, apparently the gremlins are like people. In general, they're usually problem causers, but every now and then there's a truly good one. And that's how Gizmo is. He's good of his own volition, as where the other ones are just up to no good. But when they eat after midnight, they get stronger. That's the lore I guess I didn't understand. I thought it was eating after midnight made them more evil, but no, it just makes them stronger because they're in a bigger, tougher teenager form, whatever. So the gremlins go in, they run around, they cause all this havoc with inside the dumpling shop, and you can see a clock says it's 12:15 or something. It's absurd. We then cut to the Green Trading Company, and of course he works in a giant industrial factory because that's what villains do. They work, they're polluting. You have to do your villainous stuff, but you also have to pollute, all right? You have your fingers in many evil pots at once. All right, so apparently when Riley Green swallowed Grandpa, he gained all of his knowledge, so he knew which books of maps and things to take with when they left his house. So Riley Green is over here learning all of Grandpa's knowledge. So everything Grandpa knows about the Mogwai, he now knows. So then we cut back to Sam waking up to realize that the other gremlins are gone. So him and Gizmo go out running the town looking for the gremlins. And they see a dumpling shop where everybody's running out and fleeing. And the guy says, "Hey, you hired me to kill rats. I don't know what those are." And they kind of, Gizmo and Sam give each other the look and they go running inside there. And sure enough, it looks like Aliens 2. You've got like a bunch of eggs in there and they're all slimy and gross. And Gizmo kind of gives them uh-oh. So just as Sam and Gizmo are trying to figure out what to do, the door opens and here's Riley and Elle, right on time. This bad guy has the best timing ever. So the bad guy and Sam have an exchange where Sam explains, this is Gizmo, and the bad guy says, "Oh, you gave it a name." And he says, "Of course I did. He's not a thing to be owned. He's a living, breathing thing." So just as Riley is rolling his eyes at how dumb it is for that thing to be named Gizmo, he gets clocked in the head by Elle with a wok. There's a sentence I never really thought I'd say. So Sam and her escape and flee to an alley. So she explains to Sam that she doesn't really want to be evil, but she has to be evil because she has this debt to pay. So why don't they try to return the Mogwai to the Valley of Jade? And when they do, some of the treasures and riches that are there she can have, and then she can use that then to stay ahead of Riley Green for the rest of her life. So it's the total Han Solo, Jabba the Hutt story, which is cool. Right now, if you're going to steal from things, steal from Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, all right? Those are good stories to steal from. So his response is, "Look, because of you, my grandpa got swallowed, and who knows what happened to my mom and my dad, so I don't trust you at all." She explains to them Riley has them captured in this magic prison cell thing, and she can use her little street people army to get a message to them to let them know that he's okay and that they're going to go return that Mogwai. Which I imagine as a parent, on one hand, you're happy to get the note that your child is still in fact alive because you had to be worrying at this point. But it's also like, by the way, I'm headed off to a secluded mountainous region with this homeless girl I met 5 minutes ago who used to be evil but says she's cool now. And we're going to take this little quick multiplying monster thing back to its home country before it destroys everything. By the way, I'd like to remind you I'm a child. Love you. Bye. So we see the kids hop on, they have one more encounter with the bad guys and they escape them. They hop a train off to some other city, and that's where the next episode will take us. But just like the last episode, when you think everything is about to be over, there's one last little button shot. In this, we see Riley Green wake up from his concussion from a walk, and he realizes that he's in a room full of Mogwai eggs that are now hatching into evil gremlins. So overall, once again, not bad. Slightly better than the first episode because we had the whole Big Trouble in Little China tribute and the Karate Kid 2 tribute. I like that they're paying good tributes to things without doing the lazy thing they do in kids' movies where it's like we have to appeal to the adults, so make like a vaguely hidden joke that maybe the adults will get and the kids won't, like some 69 or 420 or some crap. It's like, no, this is a good, legitimate Easter egg, fun thing, because they know that folks who are going to go out of their way to watch a children's show, like me, are fans of the original property. So to put these little nuggets in there to keep it interesting for us is cool. Now that it's to a point where I know what I'm getting, I'm enjoying it more. I'm not excited for next Thursday where I can't wait to see what happens on this big adventure they're on. But as far as a children's cartoon show about, Gremlins that's coming out like 40 years later or whatever, it's all right. I'm enjoying it. It's not bad. I will at least review the next two. That's all I will commit to. But at that point, after I've watched 4, I'm not committing to anything more than that. You're not convincing me to commit to anything more than that. So next Thursday, I'll watch the next 2, and we will see what happens after that. But I'm enjoying it. If you've seen it and you like it, please let me know. Put something in the comments below about your thoughts on the Gremlins show, if you have any desire to watch it at all, or if you are watching it and you think it's cool. Otherwise, if you haven't seen that first episode 1, you can watch that here. Or otherwise, maybe watch a different episode here. I don't know, something. I'll pick out something fun for you guys to go right there. Is that good? Does that appeal to you? Seems like it appealed to you. All right, you guys catch you later.